Good morning students, this is Aprajita Singh. We will study chapter 2nd of civics, that is what is democracy and why democracy. Chapter 1, that is democracy in contemporary world, is not in your course. So we will start with chapter 2nd. The topics which we will be covering in this chapter are meaning of democracy, features of democracy, that is major decisions by elected leaders, free and fair electoral competition, one person, one vote and one value, rule of law and respect for rights. Then we'll be studying arguments in favor of democracy or what are the benefits of democracy, and arguments against democracy, that is what are the shortcomings of democracy. Now let's come to meaning of democracy. Democracy means a form of government that by the people, for the people and of the people. It is basically a form of government in which rulers are elected by the people. Almost all the democratic countries of the world follow universal adult franchise. Universal adult franchise means every citizen of a country who is above 18 years of age have the right to vote. There should be no discrimination on the basis of religion, caste, sex, region, race. And now there are two types of democracy, direct democracy and representative democracy. In direct democracy, people take all the decisions by themselves. They don't choose, they don't elect any representative, they take decisions directly by themselves. And in representative form of democracy, the people of the country or the voters of the country elect their representatives, and these representatives take decision on the behalf of the people and for the welfare of the people and country. In modern times, most of the countries of the world, most of the actually democratic countries of the world follow representative form of democracy. Direct democracy is not followed so much because nowadays population of countries have increased very much, and physically it is not possible for all people to sit together and take decisions collectively. There may be arguments, there may be disagreements, and then citizens may not have time, they may not have the desire or the skill to take part in these decisions. So most of the countries, most of the democratic countries follow representative form of democracy. Now we will come to features of democracy. Actually, these features of democracy tell us whether an elected government is a democratic government or not. Every elected government can't be called a democratic government unless these parameters are actually followed. First one is major decisions by elected leaders. What happened in Pakistan in October 1999 is that General Pervez Musharraf led a military coup. Coup means illegal seizure of the powers of a legally elected government. With the help of military powers, he removed a democratically elected government and he himself became the president of Pakistan. In 2002, he held a referendum which granted him 5-year extension. Referendum means taking vote or opinion of the people of a country or locality on certain matter. He asked people to vote in favor. He asked people to vote whether he should be granted this 5-year extension or not, and people voted in his favor. But the Pakistani media, human rights organization and democratic activists said that this referendum, while passing this referendum, a lot of malpractices were followed. So in August 2002, he amended the Constitution of Pakistan. According to this amendment, a president has the right to remove or to dismiss the national and state assemblies. Later he formed a National Security Council. Later he formed an organization named National Security Council. Major officials of this National Security Council were the military officers. The work of this National Security Council was to supervise the working of national and state assemblies. So this national and state assembly consisted of elected representatives chosen by people of Pakistan or citizens of Pakistan. But in reality, who was taking the decision? That was NSC, National Security Council. So, for a government, for an elected government to be a democratic government, the decision-making power must rest solely with the elected representative. If the elected representative or elected government is being supervised by some other organization, then that government cannot be called a democratic government. Now next one is free and fair electoral competition. China's parliament is called National People's Congress, and this parliament has the right to appoint the president of China. This parliament has over 3,000 members elected from all over China. Some members are elected by the army. And for a person to contest election for parliament, he has to be a member of either Chinese Communist Party or 8 alliance parties. No other person can contest elections. So in China, what is happening? Actually, this Communist Party is forming the government and not the people. Now let's come to Mexico. Mexico became independent in 1930. After 1930, elections are held after every 6 years in Mexico. But until 2000, only Institutional Revolutionary Party won all elections in Mexico. Other parties contested elections, but they never won. It is said that the Institutional Revolutionary Party used dirty tricks to win elections. All the government officials had to attend the party meeting. Teachers of government schools forced parents to vote for PRI. Polling booths were shifted in the last minute to some other place of which people were not so aware. So, in both the countries, elections are actually being held, but elections are not being held in a free and fair manner. For a government to be called a democratic government, elections should be held in a free and fair manner where the government that is currently in power has a fair chance of losing. An elected government can be called a democratic government only when elections are held in a free and fair manner. Now next one is one person, one vote and one value. Every citizen of the country who is qualified to be a voter must have the voting rights. There should be no discrimination on the basis of caste, sex, religion, race and region. Every person must have one vote and the value of votes for all the person must be same. If we take the example of certain countries, in Saudi Arabia, women didn't have the voting rights till 2015. In Estonia, Russian minority were not allowed to cast vote. In Fiji, the value of votes of indigenous Fiji were more in comparison to Indian Fiji. So, for an elected government to be called a democratic government, every citizen who is qualified to be a voter must have voting rights and the value of votes for all the persons must be the same. So these were the features of democracy. A government can be called a democratic government only when these features exist in that government. Now we will study the arguments in favor of democracy or what are the benefits of democracy. First one is a democratic government is more accountable. A democratic government has to respond to the needs of the people. There are multi-party systems or there are media that can criticize the government for its decision. Other forms of government, if the ruler is wishing to respond to the needs of the people, they will respond, otherwise they will not work according to the wishes of the people. But a democratic government has to work for the welfare of the people. Next one is it improves the quality of decision making. In democratic countries, a lot of people have to be consulted while taking any decision. A lot of meetings are held, a lot of discussions are done. When large number of people take any decision, they may be able to point out the possible mistakes. This takes time, but it reduces the chances of bad decision. So, democracy improves the quality of decision making. Now next one is democracy deals with differences and conflicts in a better manner. In a socially diverse country, difference of opinions may arise. What may happen in other forms of government is that the more powerful will dictate its terms and conditions and the less powerful has to follow it. But this does not happen in democracy. In democracy, all the conflicts are resolved in according to the set rules and regulations. In democracy, no one is permanent winner, neither anyone is permanent loser. In democracy, there are courts, rules and regulations, constitution according to which all the conflicts are resolved. Now next one is democracy enhances the dignity of the citizens. Democracy is based on political equality. There is no discrimination among rich and poor, educated and uneducated. All people have equal political rights. And democracy also gives fundamental rights to its citizens. These fundamental rights cannot be violated by anyone, not even by the government. Citizens have the right to protect their fundamental rights. So, democracy enhances the dignity of the citizens. Now, last one is it allows to correct its own mistake. No form of government can guarantee that there will be no mistake. But in democracy, these mistakes cannot be hidden. There is space for public discussions on mistakes. Either the ruler has to correct his mistake or he will be changed. So, in democratic form of government, there is room for correction. These are the arguments in favor of democracy. Now, the last topic of this chapter is arguments against democracy, or what are the shortcomings of democracy. First one is instability. In most of the democratic countries of the world, elections are held after every 5 or 6 years. There is frequent change in leaders. This frequent change in leaders bring about instability in the country. Second one, no morality. In a democracy, elections are held. These elections are all about political competition and power play. Malpractices are followed in elections. So there is no scope for morality. Slow decision making. While taking a decision in a democratic country, a lot of people have to be consulted. A lot of meetings are held. This leads to slow decision making. Now, fourth one, bad decisions. At times, leaders may not be aware of the best interest of people. So, the decisions which they have taken may prove wrong for people and the country. Democracy leads to corruption. And at times, people may elect a wrong representative who may not be able to govern the country properly. So here the chapter ends. Thank you.